I believe it's lesson, let me check, 8. It's lesson 9 today. Lesson 8, last week we did a practical session, and I hope you had the chance to watch the replay. And I hope that that was useful for you in some way. I want to continue in the spirit of practical session, but also I do want to talk today more than anything. I want to check in with you. I want to see where you find yourself in the journey. So it's been now almost 2 months since we've been doing the class, and I want to just have a check-in with all of you and see where you are before we introduce any more techniques or any more processes or any more practical steps. This is actually a more of a coaching session or of a healing session. If, like Sylvia said before, it is one of those sessions today. So Sylvia, you got the vibe right. I said last time we had a standard class about the voice. Funnily enough, I said your voice. It was class 7, and it was about choosing a form and a style of writing that best reflects your message. And I was encouraging you to look for a book, a favorite author, a favorite movie, a favorite play, something that resonates with you, and watch it now from the perspective of a writer and of a very good listener who understands also the craft and how you put it together. And the point of that was because I wanted you to connect to your inner voice. And the best way to do that relationally as people, not just in writing, but in anything else that surrounds us. Do you know when you look outside of you and you say, oh, I like that, that's beautiful. I'm down with that. You were simply recognizes something that's within us. It's a resonance. Everything around us, it resonates a certain light, a certain color, a certain sound, whether it's a tree, an inanimate object, or a person. We're just resonating with that energy. So this is why I wanted you to do that exercise. We're going to do a little bit of the exercise today, I'm hoping. And I'm going to let's do that now. Let's drop in, let's relax. Let's stop everything for 2 minutes. Let's see if I have anything on here. I'm feeling like some music is needed for this one. Let me see if I can pull up some of my Spotify playlists if my laptop allows. Yes, it does allow hang drum. I have this hang drum on at the moment. And I'll be sharing the sound. I hope you can hear that okay. It's a very gentle drum. It's a water drum. It's cold, and just pay attention to the gentle rhythm of it. Just take a deep breath in. Let your shoulders drop. Your feet sit firmly on the ground. Just pay attention to the rhythm, what it may invoke for you. Allow yourself to be in this space for the next 40 minutes. Allow yourself to resonate from the core of who you are, from the core of your inner voice. Last week, more than ever, I learned that In order for your voice to be as clear as possible, and as resonant as possible, you need to get silent. Become a better listener before you speak. From the silence, the voice, the new voice, comes out crispier, clearer, meaningful. I want you to now think of a book you really love, a paragraph you really love, from this feeling of quiet, loving resonance. Let the drum remind you a piece of art you really love. It doesn't have to be obvious. It can be something that just enters your mind right now. It doesn't have to be your absolute favorite. It could be something you watched recently or something. Stay with the feeling of what that piece of art evokes in you. Stay with that feeling for another minute. When we come out, we'll talk about it, we'll write it down. But for now, we have to do, listen to the drum, and sit with the image, sound, feeling, smell of your favorite piece of art. Allow yourself to be part of it, to become it in some kind of form, whether you're a witness in it, whether you become a co-creator, or you might just be almost in every scene watching from the sideline. Why do you love it so much? What does it remind you of? What does it make you feel? Beautiful. I'm going to slow the music down and allow you to gently come back to the room. Okay, so if you feel called to grab a piece of paper or type it in your laptop or notes or note, and just write the first words or sentence that comes to mind about this piece of art that popped in and visited you. And if not, stay longer with the feeling, stay longer in, and then you don't have to write it down, but if you do feel like write it down, write it. Almost like ask yourself, what is it about this that resonates with me, and allow those answers or those key words, it could be just a word, allow those words to rise to the surface of your consciousness so you then become aware of it. Because so many times we may resonate with things, but we don't necessarily know why. We don't become aware of that connection. So just become aware of it. Just try to become a bit more conscious of this resonance that you have with that certain piece of work. So give yourself another couple of minutes, and then when you're ready, and once you're ready, I want to invite someone to share their piece of art, their piece of favorite art, and what is it about it that resonates with you. Yes, Sylvia, you wrote something, honey. You're welcome to start. The rest of us, you can continue writing if you feel like it, if something is calling you to write down the ideas you have. Otherwise, feel free to start sharing now. We're going to share for the rest of the class today.
Yeah, so isn't it interesting how synchron everything runs? This morning I woke up at 5:10. That's way too early for me, and so I tried to get back to sleep. And then I don't know from which depth it came, but suddenly I realized what the theme was in our Dutch literature class in secondary school. We had to read by theme, so it could be the Russians, it could be, I don't
Mm.
know, a mix of writers, as long as there was this red line. And I was reading under the umbrella of the magical realism. It comes from the German, and it was first used for paintings, and then it came to books as well. And I said to myself, I don't remember anything of it anymore. So I started to Google. That was at 5:15. I
Mm.
started to Google, and um, and so the names of the writers came back, and the books came back, and the titles came back. So there are these wonderful titles because I had to. This was for Dutch, so it needed to be Dutch writers. They were Belgian, Flemish writers, where I live now in
Mm.
Belgium. And one of the titles was "The Staircase of Stone and Clouds," and another one was "The Train of the Train of Slowing Down." There's probably a much more beautiful, but you get the picture.
Yeah.
A train that goes fast, but here, so it was the opposite. And there were just two writers known for that. Um, one of the titles was also "Back to Atlantis,"
Oh.
which I yes, which and then when I read a little bit more, one of them was about one was more about the world between dream and reality, and the other one was much more integrating the works of Jung, which for me is super interesting because I in my daily workshop, when I give the workshops, Jung is there as well. So I said to myself, oh, I have to understand something, and then I said to myself, well, in a way, Pep is magical realism because the animal doesn't exist anymore. Although I hear they do want to try to use an elephant to try to carry with mammoth genes a mammoth,
Genetics of it.
yeah, and
Yeah.
hybrids.
Yeah.
They want them to breed hybrids. Balls, guess what? And so I said to myself, oh, this is fantastic. This is my genre. This is what I'm gonna do. It's this combination where dream and reality cross each other, where we pull in, where we pull it in. So there was so when you were saying it, I was back
You were
in
back
the
there
morning, and
in the
I was
morning.
also back in the. You were talking about books and writers that we loved. And when I was much younger and I could really read for hours and hours, there were the books of the Clan of the Cave Bear. There are six in total. It's 6 tomes, and I love those books. And it's still a series that when the children were gone in the summer to their camps and everything, and there was nobody really to take care of, and I could just take care of me and my husband,
Ah.
I would read them hours and hours. And my husband would say, "You're reading so fast. You're reading so fast." He hardly reads. So those came back as well. So it was a beautiful mix. Thank you.
Ah, beautiful. No, I'm so glad to hear that. And somewhere in there, you also have not just your awareness of the similarities between PEP and everything else that you mentioned, but you also have the core reasons, the foundation why that's important to you. And you just said, when I go into this camp and I don't need to take care of anyone else and I'm just free to kind of explore myself, So see, that's an important part of your creative work, just the independence to create as a way of exploring yourself. And when you said about Peppy in magical realism, absolutely, that's your thing, right? Dream and reality. You're picking the information up from a dream world, but you're trying to make it as real as possible so that the child understands it. So that's brilliant. So you see how your mind apparently, or your thoughts, gave you the message of these writers that are using these tools. And then all I'll say for you next, Sylvia, is look into their work now with the eye of almost a counterpart. Imagine yourself sitting next to these authors and having a conversation with them, and ask these questions as if you would ask them, why did you do this here? Why did you write this way? And see what they tell you, because as you well know from the Mind Valley world, you can have a conversation with whoever you want. You don't need to be there with them. You can simply channel them and simply ask any questions that you have about style, about getting a message across. The titles that you mentioned, the titles were beautiful. They were combining unrealistic sets of elements, clouds and stone and trains that decelerate and stuff. So all these things are clues for you. They mean something, and they're relevant for your
Yeah, and what I also noticed myself doing when I'm writing the little pep stories is I'm doing fact checking. I mean, how much
awesome. You
facts
should,
are there
and
to
you
check,
should,
right?
you should,
But
yeah, absolutely.
I really do it. I like, I don't want to write any nonsense. So, and so
Beautiful.
in these little, in the pep stories, I try really to always put a little reality of today, put it in a
Cool.
warning to the kids, or, something that they can think of, or, yeah.
Brilliant.
So,
And
I mean, it's like 35 years ago or something, guys, that I was in the secondary school, I think, by now. I don't want to count. It's more than 25 years ago.
bless you. You don't look it, sweetie. All right. So before I move to the next person that wants to share, I want to just tell us in kind of in one sentence where you are with your writing. Like Charlotte, for example, I'm happy with where I am, or I'm not happy where I am. And if you're not happy where you are, just tell us why. But if you are happy with where you are, and obviously I cannot speak for yourself, but I cannot imagine you not being happy with where you are, because I know how much progress you made, and you're literally just months away from getting your book out. So where are you in your writing, Sylvia? Are you happy with it? Are you where you want to be?
I thought the question was for the. I'm absolutely happy.
Great.
I'm happy. Book
That's what I
one,
want to hear.
indeed, I'm continuing, and book two, I started the drawing and the first sketches of others. So, yeah, I'm happy.
Beautiful. Nice to know. In the order of the screen, I'm going like that. It's Carmen. Carmen, go on, sweetie. Tell us what you connected with first, if you like, and you're muted. And yeah, tell us first what you connected with.
I'm going to get emotional.
Okay, you don't have to share if you're not up for it. I don't want to prove
No,
for you,
it's okay. I think I'd rather start with where I'm at with my writing, because I think it's
brilliant.
very,
Okay, start
it's
with
deeply,
that.
it's deeply connected with the book that came to my mind. I'm happy with where I am with my
Yeah,
writing, but a little bit of discontentment is there. But I think it's just a natural part of the process of finding myself again, and just getting really solid in the reason that I write is for me, and nobody else. Um, and still, because I'm human, and we write because we want people to see what we see and feel what we feel, through our writing, and we want them to have this appreciation for an understanding of and an appreciation for whatever we're writing about, yeah. My writing is a testament to all those things in the world that are beautiful and that are poignant. I think that there's this overriding theme, and what I write about is that every life lived and every life lost, there's a poignancy to it, and there's a beauty to it. And this book, Olive's Ocean, popped in my mind. It's a book I read a long time ago, and I had a student of mine give it to me, and but she pretended like she didn't give it to me.
Oh,
It was so sweet, I saw her leave it on my desk, and um, the next day I said, to her, you left this book, and she goes, no, I didn't, and she smiled, and it was just so magical, and I read it. It's about a teenager who lost a friend. Well, it wasn't a friend. The name of the book is Olive's Ocean, and
Olive's Ocean. I can't say I've ever heard, but I'm
yeah,
looking for
it's
it.
it's a coming of age book that it's, I don't know, I appreciate those kind of books, and there's a movie that was then and this is now. It's about four girls, friends that grew up together. It's I just love those coming of age books where you just get this big epiphany about about life, and about, okay, so this is, we get to find our new normal. I think a lot of what I'm drawn to and what I write about is about finding our new normal. And Olive was a classmate of Martha, who died tragically and suddenly, and Olive's mother gave Martha a little excerpt from Olive's journal, and it was about how Olive, I thought Martha was nice, and she really wanted to be friends with her. And she found out that they both had a secret, and that secret was that they both wanted to be writers.
Okay, here's your why. I was waiting for it. Okay,
There you go. They both wanted to be writers, and so it's a bit of a journey of Martha getting to know herself through her, posthumously getting to know Olive. And Olive always wanted to go to the ocean, and so did Martha. And Martha's grandmother lived in the ocean, and she goes and collects ocean water for Martha, and she was going to give it to for Olive. She was going to give it to Olive's mom, because her mom and her talked about how much Olive wanted to go to the ocean. But when she got back, she spent the summer with her grandmother. When she got back, Olive's mom was gone. So it ends with, she writes Olive's name in the sidewalk with the ocean water, and as a tribute to Olive, and then it evaporates, like life. It's just so fleeting. So and so beautiful that here was someone who was still honoring this little girl who was really a nobody in the world, but everybody is somebody.
Oh, sweet. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And this is the core of your writing, isn't it? The little things, the mundane things that mean so much, right? The things that are apparently insignificant, and yet they're so significant, right? And this book seems to me, it comes to show you that what your style of writing, which I remember you sometimes kind of being a bit self-criticism, criticizing your own work, saying you it's too much of this or too much of that. Well, you see that books like this are very touching and very deep, and they make huge differences in people's lives. Like, imagine the author of Olive's Ocean, if he would have said, I'm going to keep this for myself, and you wouldn't have read that book, right?
Yeah.
Huge impact on your life. And And you mentioned earlier about you don't know whether you're right for yourself or you're right for others. We will always write for others eventually, because I'll tell you why. Even if no one ever reads your book, that book has changed you and the way you exist in the world. So there is no way you can't impact others through your writing. There is no way you cannot impact others. You become a different person. You become someone else through your writing. And then the way you then exist in the world will impact everybody else around you. Now the choice is, do I keep the book in the drawer or not? And you'll find that for yourself. You'll find that for yourself. And I would almost say at this point is not even important. That isn't important for you. I'd say from knowing what you write about and how important this is for you, and congratulations on writing your outline and sending it, by the way. That was a time, and yeah, you should all cheer for her, guys, because it's really, really tough to, you all know how tough it is to put your soul on paper and send it to someone, right? And especially someone who doesn't necessarily know you. So that's a very big step, Carmen. Absolutely amazing. Well done for that. Take
Thank
that
you.
book, read, sit with that book again. And the same I said to Sylvia. Now, imagine you're a colleague of the author and you talking about the book together and you share impressions and you tell him, I really like this scene when she wrote the name in the sand and the ocean washed it away. I wonder what you thought about when you created that, and I wonder how I could bring that into my work and have this imaginary conversations like we do, because we're writers, we're creatives, and we are a bit crazy like that, and we talk to imaginary people all the time, and have that kind of conversation. Make notes, like make an intention of it, to become much more aware of these things and bringing them into your story. Thank you so much, Carmen, for that share. That's beautiful. And I'll definitely look up Olive's Ocean.
Olive's Ocean, yeah.
Sounds like a really cool book. And again, yeah, I think you summarized it perfectly. You are where you are with your writing, and it's coming together. If I think of where you were when I met you 2 months ago versus now, you have a book outline, a title, and you already wrote the core of 2 central stories, which is much more than when I met you. So well done for that.
Thank you.
Next one on my screen is Maha.
So interesting. I'm going to start with where I am with my work. So the last month I've just not really been, like, usually I type my stories on my computer and sometimes I take notes and I sit in the morning and I write, but everything I've written in the past month had nothing to do with my book. It was just all processing different things that are happening. This morning, I revisited my contract. Revisited.
Your declaration.
Yes. And to the zoo inside of you. So I wrote to the book. Thank you for choosing me as the conduit for your genius. I'm so humbled and grateful for your visitation. I wanted to apologize for not giving you the attention you need. I really am. In all honesty, I got overwhelmed and scared, really scared. I thought you were amazing and I wanted the best for you, but I think I recognize now that I couldn't do it at the time and it was misguided thinking. I am capable, I am worthy, and I am masterful to bring you into this world. It may take me a while, but we'll get there. You have the capacity to make more well-balanced human beings, and so I want to work with you. I want to see children grow up in healthy relationships with feelings and emotions. You are an expression of motherhood and the feminine. As I have no children of my own, I choose to love and nurture many children through you.
Wow.
So
Oh my God.
I'm making progress with my outline. I have some poems written, but it's been a while. So we had a conversation this morning, and Paula, I will be sending you what I have. But it's a work in progress, and I'm making space for it now. But anyway.
That's so good to hear. That's so good to hear. Indeed, it's heart touching that what you read. And I especially love the part of you recognizing your reason and your motive behind it is you have no children of yourself. You want to nurture other children through the book. The only thing I would say that I read, I think I read to you a week or 2 weeks ago, your children is not your book. You nurture other children through the book, but the book is not a child. The book is a book. And you know why I say this? Because when you think, oh my God, the children, the book is my child, guess what happens? You get overwhelmed. It's overwhelming to think of it that way, isn't it? Because with a child, you have a life and death situation, and the child's survival depends on you. Whereas your relationship with the book, not just you, but us in general, it's more of a counterpart relationship. It's a buddy, it's a friend, it's someone you bounce off with. And again, like I said, and I experienced myself, the book creates me, recreates me. It's similar to a child in a sense. When you have a child teaches the parent in so many ways, right? But the book doesn't depend on you for its life. It has a life of its own, and you are literally just the master, the crafter of the words. And like you said, the book will visit you and it may go, and let it go if it does. You know what? So many great authors write 90% of a book and then they drop the idea. They drop it. That's also super okay. It's super okay. But it's almost like if you hadn't written that down, there's no room for the next thing to come up. In the same way, when you wrote this morning, had you not written this for you, there's no way you can make room for the next and so on. So no piece of writing is out of place. Why you wrote today, because you said you write things that are not related to the book. Everything you write is related to the book. Everything in your inner life is related to that. The fact that you had to do these little sporadic pieces, it's another step for you to get there. So nothing is wasted. Don't ever feel that anything is wasted. Not to mention, this is the last thing I'll say about this is, in the creative process, sometimes you just have to wash the dishes. You just have to ride a bike. You just have to go for a walk. You have to step away from it. You really, really do. And there are many, many known creative coaches and people who've created many things in the world who say, specifically watching YouTube videos of cats online and watch very random stuff, especially when you're going deeper into your project. And it sounds like you are going deeper, Maha, because you've already written quite a bit. You're going into that second stage or second level. You're going deeper underground. And what you need is almost checkout points, because we're multi-versed beings. We do loads of things in this life. In an ideal world, we'll all just be writers. We'll sit at home all day and we just write. But it's not the case, right? We're friends, we're partners, wife, mothers, employers, employees. We have all these multifaceted ways of being, and sometimes taking care of that aspect allows the writer to take a breath, to be inspired, to recreate. So again, it's not a mistake to sometimes step away from it, as long as you still in the back of your mind allowing yourself to create. Sometimes, and not sometimes, many times I just walked thinking about a verse or a poem. I just, went to the gym and cycled in, and I was thinking about or processing that, not actively thinking about it, but processing it, that was happening, that was still going. And that's part of writing. I said this to you before, writing is maybe 20% of the effort, the actual writing. It's the processing of it, the mulling over it and all that. That's the core part.
And then the book
Yes.
or that I was thinking about was The Alchemist. I love that book.
Yes.
And it's just like the whole journey of like discovery and magic and wisdom. It's just, and I feel like I'm sort of doing something similar in a way with emotions are animals. So there's magic in children and they need to believe that there is magic in the world. And there is, you know, take these animals and have the wisdom drawn out. And I was seeing all the parallels there. So I think that's kind of where I don't know if I drew from that or it's just somehow becoming a similar theme.
Maybe both. And look how cool that is, you know, that it popped into your mind because you're the alchemist, you're alchemizing emotions into real things. So things that are similar to Sylvia, dream world with reality, you're turning something ineffable into something touchable, right? So absolutely, alchemy, beautiful. Well, enjoy exploring Paulo Coelho's world and his writing. There's plenty of stuff on his writing out there. So amazing. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you so much, Maha, for that share. Then I have here Shante and then Anna. Let's try and hear from both of you ladies. Anna, you're free to join in if you can speak. But Shante, where are you? Tell us what you want to tell us first. Where are you with your writing, or what came for you?
Where am I with my writing? I'm okay, I guess. I'm slowly chugging along. I feel like there are things that come up, like technical stuff or physical stuff, but I'm still taking actions, probably not as much as I'd like to take. But I'm okay with that and being where I am. Like I wanted to have my first 3 stories completed. The first one is like I would say 99% done. There's still some tweaking I want to do. The second story, I totally botched it up yesterday by trying to write it from another point of view. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I just tore it to shreds. And now I'm like, okay, maybe I need to take that story and start all over again from the drawing board and see where it goes, which is fun. Like I've never written before. I never considered myself a writer. And when I would hear writers say, oh, I'm on my 12th draft, I would go, are you nuts? Who could do something like that? And now I'm in the process and I'm excited by it. I'm excited by, you know, taking an idea and then seeing all the different points of views and where it leads, where it goes. You know, I may have one idea about what's happening and then something totally different happens. And so then this whole idea of rewrites and editing becomes fun, oddly enough, which I couldn't have imagined before getting into this process. So in that sense, it's a journey that I'm enjoying. And also I stepped into it very unrealistic, you know, like, you know, by this time I'm going to have this many series done. And by this time I'm going to have that done. And it's like, oh, yeah, like I'm now up to like my 12th draft of a really, really short story, you know, but great. It's wonderful. When I was thinking about this short story kept coming to mind. And for some reason, now I can't remember the name of it. And a friend of mine gave me a copy of it years ago. It's a short story by J. California Cooper. And it's in her book of short stories called Homemade Love. And never forgot that story after all these many, many, many years. And I think it was 2 weeks ago, intuition said, go look for that story. I'm like, are you kidding me? It was like just like some photocopied papers. And I've moved how many times? And like my life has been up and like I'm never gonna find it. And that day I found the story and read it. And it led me to go on YouTube and find her. She's no longer with us, but just hearing her, she read from a voice that kept coming to her to write from. that she never used in any of her stories, but I could see why I loved her stories. And it is exactly what you're saying. It's a strong voice. The voices of her characters are so strong, and she has crazy dialect, like, you know, the way they speak, you can feel them. And that's what I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. I want some of that. The meditation,
Yeah.
I have no idea what happened. I go off somewhere. I don't know where I went. I don't know what you said. I was traveling. I was here. I was there. I was everywhere. But these are some of the words that came up: community, traveling, connection, transformation, home, and feeling welcome.
Wow. Beautiful. I want to say, yeah, so home, you have home there twice, something about coming home, coming home.
Oh, and yeah.
Yeah, yes, homemade, home love. Your book, yeah, homemade, home love. And your book is love, relationships, in and out of love. Yeah. So there's a little connection there. And absolutely the traveling, it's definitely inward rather than outward, and creating that community of people through resonating through the internal journey, through the journey of love. So connecting with people that way. And I'm really happy to hear you travel, because I absolutely improvise that. I never prepare meditations. I just know I have to do a meditation, and I speak totally out of wherever it comes. I make no plans whatsoever. I just say whatever these people need to hear in advance, they let that come through. And I'm really glad that came through for you, Shante. Beautiful, beautiful. Keep going. The drafts will be numerous, and the time you spend on them will also vary from story to story. You cannot write the same, a different story in the same time. So loving your energy and your vibe, and keep at it. You're heading exactly where you're supposed to. Beautiful. Yes, community. I think Shante does write about community as well. Sylvia. And Anna, did you want to share with us? You okay to speak?
I would love to. I just left the kids outside. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I want to thank you, Paula, first of all, because you always show up for us. And I feel that you're still sick. And thank you for doing all of this for us.
Sweet. Yes, I'm recovering. I'm still not 100%, but I'm better.
Thank you. I know, like as a parent that like that's like something very, very tricky.
Yeah.
And thank you really for showing up for all of us. And I used to write a lot. Like I was very, very active writer when I was in high school, when I was in university, and when I came in Poland, somehow like I went to this corporate world and I lost my track of the writing. I didn't see any more like purpose there or like big sense. And I have tons of old materials. Like I used to write a lot of mainly poetry. And I used to be part of many clubs. And now, like, as far as I go, still, like, I'm still, like, as far as I know where is my purpose, I still escape the things that really make me happy, because somehow I think I didn't achieve enough. And I was like just thinking while you were doing the meditation that this part of my limiting beliefs, that I cannot return fully to the poetry or to the writing, because like I still didn't do enough of the things that like are needed. And you somehow return me back on the track, like that I need to do things that really make me happy because otherwise I won't do anything else like in normal way. And I am writing something small, and in general, like I have so many stories that I want to share, and so many things that come like always when I sit down and start writing, even names. I have concepts, nothing really precise, but like I really need these meetings. If I cannot show up, I'm watching your videos and you're returning me back to something that is really connected to my soul. which I was not giving my permission. Like, I don't know, like I had a very bad experience with the publishing of book. We had a very big author that was supposed to come to our city, and his wife was responsible for the people that want to publish. And she came to me and she just said, like, you need to give me this much money if you want ever to publish. And as a 16 years old, that was like, just, it took me out of my brain that like I could be ever capable of publishing book, because like, you know, these people. I'm sorry, I just
see, your presence is required right now, Anna. Bless her.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So you brought me back to my own self. You brought me back to the things that I can believe, like, because I was reading your story, reading your articles, and everything you're teaching us really like return us back to ourselves. So thank you for that. I'm probably going the most slower in the whole group, but I really want to process everything and to come to my heart. And thank you. I cannot thank you enough for doing this for all of us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you, sweetie. I appreciate that testimony. And when it comes to publishing, don't you worry. Nowadays, you can publish your book on Kindle for free. You don't need to pay anything on Kindle. You just have to have your text written, and you can put it out into the world. You can publish from 0 cents to £100, £3,000. You can do so many things. So that's really not applicable anymore. As long as something within you, connect you back to writing and you feel the urge to do it, please follow that urge and just write and see what happens when you keep writing. When you write more and more and more each day, see what happens to you, to your writing, to what you write, but what happens to you. Just focus on that and don't worry about everybody else's rhythm. Just do your own. And thank you so much for your commitment to showing up here. I know it's not easy with children and with everything that's happening right now. So really proud of you. So keep showing up, and I can't wait to read some of your work. I do want to invite you to the poetry club, and I'd like to hear some of your poetry. It's every Wednesdays from 7. Vera will host. Actually, I'll host with Vera this week because I missed last week. So I'm probably gonna be there as well. Thank you, Amar. Amar, welcome. I'm glad to see your face, but you're a bit 1 hour late today. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's 7 p.m. in the UK. We went to summertime. Don't worry. Yeah, you did what Maha and Shante did last week. You showed up 1 hour. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but it's nice to see you. The class is finished for today. I will tell you what we did. It's okay. I'll stay a few minutes behind with you and tell you what we did, and I'll send you the recording. Okay. But thank you everyone for showing up. What's up, Sylvia?
Great. Yeah, I wanted to say I'm happy to listen. Ma, you have to leave?
So no, I just want to say to everyone who has to leave, because we were overrun by 7 minutes, thank you so much for coming. If you want to stay, please stay. For next time, I want to ask you to go deeper into the way you read your favorite pieces and start making little notes and share on the group. I want to ask you to start reading your favorite pieces of work, like literature, art, movies, poems, short stories, but start becoming aware of that which resonates with you and how you can take that into your work. Write it down. It could be the use of nature, how the author brings nature to compare emotions with the state of being of the outside. It could be the way they use dialogue, the way the conversation flows. Start noticing specifically what the author is doing in that favorite piece of work, because again, the key is, and Amar, this is kind of where we will help you. We did this meditation at the beginning and we said, allow your favorite piece of art art to visit you, your favorite piece of work, whether it's written work or a film or whatever it is, a painting, and then connect with what that resonates with inside you. What does it bring for you? Because that is the core of your inner voice. The theme we were following on inner voice from lesson 7. Before we did that, we said starting to develop a truer voice, a voice that's very clear and very much about you. And I was saying that this last week I've been ill and I couldn't talk, I couldn't use my voice. So I said, I learned from it that you need to get more silent before you can get louder, right? You need to go inside, preserve, turn in, and let the voice then come out crisper and clearer and more meaningful than ever, you know, almost like an upgrade. This is what I'm experiencing, that I'm getting an upgrade. Not, my voice will sound the same, but there will be something in it that doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to any of us. It belongs to the world. And I'm getting that upgrade right now. And it's very powerful. It's flaming my whole throat chakra. So yeah, in this inner state that I want to invite you all to visit, stay a bit more on the silent side. It's okay to listen and start noticing, really noticing what resonates with your resonance to that piece of art, because you're simply recognizing yourself into someone else. Everything outside of us is really an image of ourselves. It's how we see the world. It's how we are in the world, in the same way that we make an observation about something on the outside. So that's why I'm asking you to connect with that piece of art and start making this observation. And again, please do share them on the chat. Just share something you noticed, something you spotted, a style, a little trick, a tense they used, a voice that they use when they were describing a feeling. Did they describe it, or did they say something about the way the wind was blowing through the leaves, and that gave you a feeling, and that was the feeling that they wanted you to feel, rather than telling you that the character felt uneasy or uncertain? You know, what was it? So start now thinking from the perspective of the master, and the perspective of where this becomes a craft for you. You're now becoming using your voice as a craft, as a tool to bring something forward. Yes, Amasa, this is kind of what we did today. And then everybody shared what the piece of work was that they connected with, and they very bravely, courageously realized some deeper things that, you know, that it's about the reason we write and the reason we do what we do. And again, it brings back, and Maha brought us back to our declaration, really. It always brings you back to that starting point. If anything, it refreshes your memory, reminds you why you write and why you're on the journey. And Ama, I asked everyone where they are in their writing, whether they're happy or unhappy. So I want you to tell us where you are in your writing. How do you feel?
Yeah, so I mean, I feel I could, focus a bit more in terms of like writing more. But what I've done is I took the points that I did for each chapter, and I've expanded on it. So I just kind of increased the story, but rather than point form, it's actually writing the story in itself. So actually writing it. So I just been doing that. So it was really interesting because it's kind of like a blast from the past. You kind of, all that stuff comes back, right?
Yeah.
You're like, wow, like that happened. Then you kind of, you kind of go through that episode again, which is fantastic in itself. But so yeah, I'm just trying to expand on the points I've already written, and I'm just gonna write. I'm just write. I mean, that's what I'm gonna do now. Just write.
Beautiful. Oh, I love that. It's like time travel, isn't it? Yes. Amar, you were anyway quite good at structure, and we created a structure together, and you had a good view of what you were going to write, and loads of, if you like, outline points. You already had that. So indeed, I'm glad you're now just falling naturally into it. You really just need to write them now. There's nothing else to do. You now need to write the stories. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, okay, everyone. Well, it was really good to see you. Amma, it's good to see you, even if just for a few minutes. I do want to remind you that some of you have booked your free half-an-hour session. If you want to follow up, do book that across April when you feel ready to have a check-in with your work. So I'm still offering that. I want to remind you, I will send you a weekend workshop, writing workshop soon. I'm working on the details with Cesarina to do Saturday afternoon writing together, where will write with guidance. And do come to the poetry club on Wednesdays. And don't forget to send your notes on the group as well, your observations. Okay, beloveds? All right. Well, it's great to see you. We'll be sending the recording shortly. And I think from next week on, all the time zones should be back to normal with summertime. And I hope from next week on, everyone can be together at the same time. Again, sorry, I know what it feels like. I've done this as well. Okay, everyone, sending loads of love. See you soon. Bye.